throw down. Heartbeats racing, can't slow down. Feel the tension, feel the heat. Emotions hitting on repeat.
Hey guys, how's it going? Third time's a charm, apparently. First time I said good afternoon, the second time I coughed and almost threw up in my mouth. And we're live. Hey, I wanted to get this out quickly because I haven't done a wrestling centric podcast in a little while, except for the Hulk Hogan tribute, which was very quick and, didn't really cover a lot of what's kind of going on in the real world of wrestling. I will say, and I mentioned I was gonna do an entirely different episode on this alone, but I did watch the Unreal series on Netflix. If you listen back several months ago, I was on the fence as to whether or not I thought this was a good idea. And even after watching it, I'm not even sure if it was a good idea to put this out there. Excuse me. But I will say this. It, it reinvigorated my excitement around professional wrestling. I love the behind the scenes. And that's why when my wife or somebody else will say, I don't understand why you like it or why you watch it, or I I like it for all those things. I'm sorry, I'm a fucking hot mess here in the beginning, by the way. Like coughing, throwing up, wheezing. Good lord. We should settle down. I drank a lot of water before this, so I'm trying to catch myself here. Um, but I will say it's like the behind the scenes stuff, the creative process, the working through of a match, the character development, um, the big stages and all those sorts of things. That's what makes it exciting and fun. And I'm glad we got to kind of experience that in a 5 hour, friendly format on Netflix. I think a lot of people, including myself, were very nervous that, like, is this exposing too much of the business? Because there is a certain level of mystique, even though you're aware of a lot of what's kind of going on as a fan, that you kind of want to, you don't want to always see how the sausage is made, right? You kind of, and I know it's a terrible description, but there is a level of fun that is still like not knowing kind of everything that's going on. And I think that's why, and they highlight this in, several of the things that they talk about on that program, is like, that's why the surprises are so much fun when they're actually surprises, right? The John Cena heel turn, the Seth Paul Heyman union at WrestleMania. A lot of these things were unexpected and fun, and I'm glad we got to spend a lot of time with different characters. I was really glad that they focused on Chelsea Green on one of those episodes, really highlighting the struggles and I think why a lot of people are behind her, and her push, and just how incredible, and quality of talent that she is. And so great to see that. So a lot of this is, as you might expect, a lot of like the creative team, which is Paul Levesque, Triple H, um, and his team, essentially patting themselves on the back for, throughout 5 hours of programming, for, putting together great stories, blah 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 blah, great surprises. And there are a couple moments though I felt terrible. I think it's the first episode, where Abyss is the I was going to say showrunner, the producer for the CM Punk Seth Rollins Netflix match. And it's overtime, and you can see just how apologetic and nervous he is talking to Bruce Pritchard, as they're overtime, slightly over on that Netflix show. I just felt terrible for him. And then this show actually made me like Charlotte Flair. I think they did a really great story from a behind the scenes standpoint of kind of showing, I think people knew kind of what she had been through, but to hear it from her and just kind of experience that a little bit, I did really feel bad for her. I also felt bad, and she wasn't really even highlighted on the show. She was more like a background player, but you could see Bailey. I mean, you can see her in the background of WrestleMania in gorilla position, and some of the other shots. I just felt bad that she wasn't involved, and I think we'll talk about that tonight too, because right now, as I think it stands, I don't think she has a match for SummerSlam. which is again a bummer and possibly planned. This show also made me think like I could be a writer for WWE because some of the things that some of these guys were throwing out, it's like, dude, that's too obvious. That's way too obvious. And here's the thing, and I think we're kind of seeing that. And even if Seth Rollins didn't get hurt, and we'll see if what happens this weekend. Even if Seth Rollins didn't get hurt, I think there was a level of disappointment because the thing about creating excitement, the thing about telling stories, and don't give me any of this long-term storytelling bullshit, because a lot of times you can see that they're kind of figuring things out on the fly, right? Tying things together to make a bigger picture. That's why I think people were so pissed off about the Elimination Chamber Rock appearance, and then getting Travis Scott at WrestleMania. You started something with The Rock. You didn't finish it with him. He's supposed to be the final boss. Why is Travis Scott out there for a 6-minute walk to the ring? And of course, recently he's parted ways with WWE. I'm sure we'll get more information on that down the line, but that partnership seemed to fizzle at the wrong time too. It could have easily done that before WrestleMania, it seems like. But either way, um, it made me feel like I could be a writer for WWE. Because the thing is, you have to kind of pay some of these things off. It's not just about the surprise. That's why the Seth Rollins coming out with Braun Breaker and what the hell's his name? The other dude, the big dude, coming out and cutting basically the same promo week after week after week after week. It's just too much, and it's boring. And that's why I think this was a great program to kind of put out right now, because right now, for the most part, the programming is relatively boring for WWE. Not to say that it can't bounce back or something cool can happen, but it does seem like we're just inching along here when every week relatively on SmackDown seems the same, whereas this, I think I've talked about this previously, where you have a centralized feud and then one person is going to wrestle every single person in that other person's stable or group of friends. It just gets boring after a while. And especially when they say that they don't bench people, they have such a roster of folks that they could pull from, that it's just lacking. And again, it's not on the talent. This is how it's booked. This is how it's written. But either way, let's talk SummerSlam. Again, if you're not familiar, this is the first 2-night SummerSlam on the heels of the success of the 2-night WrestleManias, depending upon what success means to you. It could be financial or from a viewership standpoint. We're now going to start to see some of these more core PLEs or pay-per-views get that extended treatment to make them seem much larger. And I don't know how I feel about this. I think the weekend will kind of tell and dictate that. I kind of, if you're going to give 2 nights to an event, WrestleMania obviously to me is that night, right? Or is that event. SummerSlam is always one of my favorites in the summer. It's like I mentioned, I think when I talked about the Hogan podcast, or when I talked about Hogan's passing, it was one of the first ones I watched as a kid. So I kind of came up because it was relatively new concept at that particular time. And it was fun. I liked the intro. I thought it was cool. And I like the idea of having like, it just seemed to me, it has such memories tied of like being a kid, not yet back in school and like summer vacation waiting for like, this is like the cool thing of the summer, because there wasn't when I was watching, except for maybe the 90s, they started going a little bit deeper in terms of like you would have more in your house events like, to supplement between the months of the core 4 pay-per-views, but you were waiting for those core pay-per-views. So we'll see how it goes with the 2 nights, but let's talk through it. So night 1 is headlined by the World Heavyweight Championship match. That's going to be Gunther, the champion, versus CM Punk, the challenger. Things are obviously a little bit different now, or this match maybe kind of moved due to Seth's injury. There's also a school of thought that has, and this is kind of where my camp is too. I think Punk wins this match, and I have a feeling somehow that Seth Rollins is just healthy enough to cash in the briefcase and screw CM Punk out of the world title. Gunther obviously regained this championship not too long ago from Jey Uso. Do you need another extended Gunther run? And not to say anything about Gunther, I think he's the right person, right place, right time, and he's very good, obviously, and can work with anybody. I think he's solid, obviously. But this seems like the right time to kind of make a change. I think I see this happening, and I think this would be a great kickoff, especially for a night one, to kind of build interest and intrigue into what's going to happen maybe in night two. So I can see that, and that's kind of my prediction. Is like Seth will probably Punk will win, and Seth will try to cash in, or will cash in successfully. The next championship match we have on the night is going to be Tiffany Stratton, the champion, versus Jade Cargill. Jade just won a match against Asuka. As noted here on CBS Sports, one of the biggest of her career from a winning standpoint. I mean, probably, I guess. I mean, I don't like how Jade has been booked since joining WWE. I mean, I think I've commented on that previously. They talked so much shit about how AEW treated her development, etc., and how poor it was. And then they've done nothing, to me, in my opinion, to do anything outside of create a new entrance for her. To me, she's still the same character. I think she's done a bit better in terms of like, and this is just growth. I don't think this has anything to do with AEW versus WWE. Pacing of a match. You see this a lot when this was a great focal point also on that Unreal series when she came and attacked Naomi at Elimination Chamber last year, about slowing things down, highlighting with your face, your body, your motions, your movements, selling it. So we'll see. This should be and could be a good match because oftentimes Tiffany is sometimes also challenged in terms of like her experience and in-ring work. But she continues to progress and get it even better. Is this the time for her to lose the championship? I don't think so. I think she's also. It's tough though because I don't watch all the time, but she seems to be kind of falling a little bit flat, and she kind of straddles the line between heel and babyface, depending upon who she's working with. So it's kind of hard to kind of get behind her sometimes for people. I completely understand that. I like her character and kind of like she's like an entitled type character, right? But on the heels now, she just beat Trish Stratus at Evolution last month. So we'll see. In my opinion, she retains the title. And I think maybe Naomi. Nah, well, why would she even get involved? Maybe there's some kind of schmaz or some kind of run in here, but I don't see this as being a clean match for some reason. But do you want both of your championship matches on night one to be, outside interference? But a lot of times you'll see this, and this happens with AEW every once in a while too, where there is a pattern of just like, okay, this is the finish, this is the finish. I think we just saw this finish. So time will tell, but I think, my opinion, like I said, Tiffany retains. The next one is even tough to even fucking say out loud, to be honest with you, because I think it's such an insult to two of these guys in this match. And no offense. So the match I'm talking about, of course, is Randy Orton tag teaming with Jelly Roll against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. And I'll sit Logan Paul aside because obviously he's earned his stripes at this particular point in terms of his in-ring work. And if I was a young buck and a fan and I had a chance to kind of get involved, of course you would want to do this. But now, as I hated as even as a kid, and I'm talking about rewatching like WrestleMania 1 where you have Mr. T and Hogan teamed up. I don't need celebrity matches, okay? The only good one that I've ever really even seen was Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn. That was entertaining at least. But yeah, I mean, this is what they got for these guys, McIntyre and Orton. This is the best you can do in a 2-night event is tag team with Jelly Roll and Logan Paul. I don't understand. And what are the stakes in this match? It's a social media influencer, a singer, a country singer, and two of the best wrestlers in WWE. It's such a weird situation. And I think originally what this was supposed to be, and maybe this will be in season 2 of Unreal, but I think this was supposed to be Travis Scott's match. Maybe tag teamed with John Cena, or maybe that was a couple months ago. But I think he was supposed to be in this match. But then you look back, I think it was either Unreal or one of the other shows where Jelly Roll had lost a considerable amount of weight. He came out for WrestleMania. He could barely move his body when he chokeslammed, I think it was Dominic Mysterio. And they made a deal like, if you lose another 100 pounds or something like that, we'll find a way to get you on the program. So good kudos to him for doing it, number one. I know my fat ass needs to fucking do something. But again, I think this will be a Randy Orton Jelly Roll win. I think the good guys go over, and that's it. Hopefully something happens to kind of at least set up something with McIntyre and Orton to move forward. But it just seems odd. It's so poor. Moving on though, still in night 1, women's WWE the women's tag team championships, the Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, 14-time women's world champion Charlotte Flair, and my new favorite, right? I think her and Alexa Bliss go over in this. Maybe I don't know. I think Liv's out for a considerable amount of more time. So I don't see her coming out. Everything, as you can see, if I'm a writer, I'm booking interference. But I think Alexa Bliss and Charlotte do win this match. I don't know how, but I think they go over. Then you have a good one. Okay, so the other guy I was thinking about was Bronson Reed. So you have Roman Reigns and Jey Uso tag teaming against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Two Bloodline members who were contentious Bloodline members that multiple times throughout that storyline, that story run. Awesome to see Roman Reigns on the show. I think this is going to be a terrific match. Everybody in here is a stud. And this is going to obviously, this obviously elevates. This levels up Braun Breaker. This levels up Bronson Reed. I mean, you're in a match with Roman Reigns. And of course, Jey Uso. So, to me, I think this is going to be awesome. Unless there's some DQ or interference by like Paul Heyman or something along those lines. I think this is an opportunity for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed to go over. It would be kind of weird if they didn't, I think, from a storytelling standpoint, because where do you go from here if your faces just all pull out these wins? Next match, interesting one: Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Right now, if you look on the Twitterverse, I think Karrion's contract issues or his contract is coming to at least I don't know, the storyline or whatever it might be, but that is on the line here. It's not a stipulation, but I know like his contract is potentially up. Nothing has come through where he's re-signed yet with WWE, at least as of now and as of what we know. So this will be an interesting one. This has long been like a behind the scenes type feud of Karrion interfering in Sami's business. It's led to a number of attacks, and now the two looks to kind of put this to bed. So I think Sami goes over, because I think we're in the kind of the middle of. It's tough though, because like Karrion's hot right now, I think, with a lot of the fan base, but Sami is still a tried and true guy that they're also pushing towards that title picture, because he hasn't won one. So it would be interesting to see, but I think Sami goes over, especially with everything up in the air with like Karrion's contract stuff. Who knows? So I think he goes over. And that brings us to night 2. We've got the undisputed WWE Championship on the line, but John Cena versus Cody Rhodes in a street fight. Of course, there are no rules and no DQs in those types of events. Interesting to see how this one goes. WrestleMania was criticized, and a lot of John's matches, obviously, and he's been extremely candid about like how well he can go these days in terms of physicality and not gassing out and things along those lines. He's had some good ones. To me, I don't know. This is an interesting one because I can see Cody retaining the title. Because how many more? I don't know the countdown and where we're at right now in terms of how much more John's got left in the tank from an appearance standpoint. And I know he's consistently said that he's going to walk out with the title or whatever. But I can see Cody winning this match and winning the title back. I can see that happening. Is there a period though right now where are we in mild Cody burnout mode? I don't know. I tell you what, in ring, a lot of the times I do think, man, like yeah, there's a little bit of burnout. I like Cody. I love everything about him, and I appreciate the fact that I understand the road that he traveled, no pun intended, to get here, right? Betting on himself, leaving the WWE, coming back eventually, and then claiming the throne. Amazing. Just awesome. So happy for him. But I like him even more and when I see, because I just watched Hot Ones tonight. He was on Hot Ones. And he just genuinely seems like a cool guy. But either way, I think I'm going to say Cody wins this. And I'm probably 100% wrong. And John Cena will retain and move on. But then how do you set up a third match with these guys? Especially since they've done a tag team match, which is kind of the second match. I don't know. The next one should be a banger. It's another triple threat match. It's going to be Naomi, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. I'm just going to keep it simple. Obviously, Io and Rhea have such a long history of working together, so they do good business every time they're in there. Naomi is a real. I like her character a lot. Super happy for her that she won the title. I can see her. I think she has to win this to legitimize the run. You're in with two of the best, two of the most recent women's world champions. So to pull a win out no matter what, I think would be a big feather in her cap in terms of like getting this reign moving and continuing on a good spot. Plus, I don't think they should change that many titles in one night, or one weekend, which brings me to the next match is the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and that's Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. I hope this is the last one in this series because it is a chore to watch. I tune out every Monday, and not because I don't like Lyra, not because I don't like Becky, but it's the same thing every single week, cutting a boring ass promo. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough to watch, man. It's fucking tough to watch. Let's just be honest, whether you're a WWE fan or not. And I will be critical of AEW when shit is boring or dumb. And I'll give you an example before we close this out. But come on, man. You watch this and you can't say to yourself, man, I just fucking saw this last week. I just saw this 2 weeks ago. It's the same thing, man. So, I mean, the thing is that Bayley's not involved in this, but I think she will be. I don't think she'll be wrestling in the match, but I think she will provide some level of interference that will set up some type of feud. Probably with her and Becky, but maybe with her and Lyra to kind of put a button on that too. But something, we have to move past this. We have to move past these three, and I would rather move past in a situation that pushes Bayley back to the forefront than continuing to miss out on some of the best years that she probably still has left. Okay? Next match, United States Championship match. You got the champion Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu. This is a steel cage match. I have not a lot. Some of these I'm not. Some of these I'm learning about as I'm reading them. To include the last one, which is a fucking snoozer. Oh, never mind. It might not be. Solo versus Jacob. I think man, Solo is. I here's the thing. I can see Jacob winning this, especially in the steel cage. I think he's gonna be insane. I think this is gonna be an insane match from a physicality standpoint. With that said, I also don't under I don't I'm of the opinion of you can't, regardless of the title, with the exception of the 24/7 or whatever the fucking title was and the Speed Championship. You shouldn't be turning your titles over in a rapid fashion, right? They have to mean something. There has to be real stakes. If you're continuously turning over these titles, different guy, different guy, different gal, it's like there is no true anticipation to see what's going to come out of that match. So I think this is going to be an awesome match, and I think Solo will win. Even though I think it would be cool if Jacob got the title back, because I don't think he had a long enough. I don't think he had a long enough run with it. Next, you got the Intercontinental Championship, Dominic, the champion, versus AJ Styles. This one is going to be good too, because this has been one that's been previewed for a while. A lot of funny behind the scenes action with AJ playing different backstage roles, whether it's a maintenance worker or a doctor. Mysterio cleared, and man, I don't know where this one will go. Part of me thinks like Dominic is super over. I don't know if you saw his appearance or the clip, at least, when he kind of unmasked. I think it was in AAA. Crowd popped wild for him. Good for him, man. Good for him. So I can see him retaining here in some form or fashion, whether it's Judgment Day interference, something along those lines. I mean, this is how that shit is written, okay? It's not even just my mind. It's because I watch these events, and this is what typically ends up happening. And then the other match, and this will probably kick the show off, actually, and it should, because it's going to be moments ago I said this is a stinker, but this is going to be wild because it's a TLC match. You got a WWE Tag Team Championship match. You got the Wyatt Six versus DIY versus Street Profits versus Fraxium versus Motor City Machine Guns versus Andrade and Rey Fenix. Oh my god. This is crazy. It's like every single, and they brag about the tag team division. Like this is like almost every single tag team they got in this one match. At least the ones they put on TV. At least the ones they book on an every single week event. The Wyatt Six are the champions? I didn't even know that. Rey Fenix. Andrade and Rey are not going to win this. They're here more for, well, maybe that's a sway to kind of make you think that they wouldn't win, because they're the dudes that are obviously going to be wild, and the Street Profits, or at least what's his name, from a physicality standpoint. I don't know too much about the story for this. So I'm going to say the Wyatt Six retain somehow and keep the titles. And I think that's it. So tomorrow, I'm watching some lady eat fucking butter. Disgusting. I think it's AI. Anyways, tomorrow is Friday Night SmackDown, so card subject to change. Anything can happen. Again, I mean, there's people who are not on this card, and you got a 2-night event again, and you're missing my girl Chelsea Green. You're missing Bailey. You're missing, what else are you missing? Maybe there's only 2 I care about, but I'm sure you're missing a good number of other people. And I think Bianca's hurt, so maybe that's why she's not on here. Man, loved her on Unreal too. What an awesome group. What an awesome group of women they got there, man. Dudes are cool too. I mean, they all seemed like real good people. Love that Bianca makes her own gear, because it's so awesome. It's always sick. But what I was saying before in terms of like, this shit is boring. I'll give you an example on the AEW side, or a part that I don't understand. And then we'll close this out, and you guys can have a great weekend. Just before I even mention this, you guys, I'm going to be at WrestleCon. You wouldn't know that, and you wouldn't know my face because you've never seen it. But I'm going to be at WrestleCon tomorrow. I'm flying into New York or New Jersey. And I will be there for the Friday show. I'm excited to meet a number of individuals, and I'm flying back the same night, just in time to watch maybe SmackDown, and then to watch nights 1 and 2. So we may do a preview show, or I'm sorry, we may do a recap show. Depends on what happens. If it's cookie cutter, whatever, we'll probably pass and then give you guys the time back. But anyways, what I'm going to say, and then I'll close this out. AEW weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I don't know how many weeks. MJF joining the Hurt Syndicate, right? Every week, him coming into the ring, bribing different members of the Judgment Day, different members of the Hurt Syndicate, or the Hurt Business, whatever they're called there. Giving them cars, giving them watches, giving them ladies, everything. He finally gets in there. I think he shows up at All In their corner. And since then, they've basically kicked him out right away. And I don't even know, I've missed completely why he's even out. The fallout and the whole, what was the point of putting him in there? What was the point of putting him in that group? Just so he would have something to do in All In? I think he still had a singles match in All In. Or at least he was part of something outside of that tag team situation. He was just in their corner. It doesn't make any sense to me that he would have been involved with them at all. Was it just to give them something? And to kind of like for him to push those guys up? I don't know, but it seemed like incredibly rushed, no payoff, unless the next situation is that he'll cost Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin the titles in some form or fashion. I mean, that's logically the next step. I mean, it has to, because you got him in a package now moving forward with Hangman. So you got that thread running. And then what do you do now? Do you just leave the story empty with how he ended there? Or does he interfere in some way and then can maybe get involved in a singles capacity against those guys? I don't know. But I thought that was an example of like, what is going on here? Why did we do this? Why did we sit through weeks of this for this type of payoff? So incredibly confusing. So see, it runs deep on both sides. Shit sucks when shit sucks. But overall, I'm fucking stoked on both programs. Well, I'm stoked on AEW for the moment. I'm just kidding. It's been great consistently for a long time. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it week to week to week. And then I'm hoping the same will rekindle for WWE this weekend. But again, if you guys have not checked out Unreal on Netflix, all the episodes are up right now. I finished it in like a night and a morning. So you can bang that out. And again, a lot of fun look behind the scenes type stuff. Some of the stuff you probably already knew, so you're not going to be surprised. But it was cool to kind of see some of the behind the scenes stuff, especially when they do like character profiles and stuff like that. So enjoy that. If you're on YouTube, give me a like, give me a subscribe, please. Begging you. But either way, I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy SummerSlam, and let me know your thoughts in the comments if you think I just totally jacked up all my predictions and where you think everything's going to lie. But enjoy it. Have a good.
Throw down, heartbeats racing, can't slow down. Feel the tension, feel the heat, emotions hitting on repeat. Wrestling win with our inner fight. In the spotlight every night. Voices shout and clash in this world, emotions crash. Tangled up in thoughts we spin, in the chaos we begin, finding strength strength that's deep inside, facing fears we cannot hide. Wrestling with our inner fight, in the spotlight every night. Voices shout and bodies clash. In this world, emotions crash. Every grapple, every hold tells a story to be told. Raw and real and full of fire, pushing through the darkest mire. Wrestling with our inner fight, in the spotlight every